Welcome to the Etsy Conversations podcast, featuring inspiring interviews with Etsy shop owners, hosted by Ijama Elazu.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the Etsy Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Ijama, and I thank you for joining me for this episode. This week, we're going to be talking about your business and something you should be doing to help grow your business. So I don't have a seller on, but I do have someone on who is going to help us work through our newsletter and email marketing woes, because I know we all struggle when it comes to email marketing and just what we should be doing and how and all whatnot. Now, we all know that we need to have a newsletter, but it goes beyond that. We need to, well, not a newsletter, but we need to collect email addresses. And so today, my discussion is going to be a deep dive on just really how, as an Etsy seller, you should be handling email marketing. My guest this week is Andreas Lundahl, which I did not say correctly, but you'll hear from him. Maybe he'll be gracious and tell us exactly how to say his name, because I know I like to hear the proper pronunciation of people's names. And he is with Craftkit, and you're going to learn all about what Craftkit does and what this tool can help you do as an Etsy seller. Andreas, thank you so much for being my guest, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
Well, I'm so glad to have you. And because I flubbed your name, I want to make sure that folks know how to say it, because I also have a foreign name, and I like people to hear their name said correctly. So can you please tell us how to say your name correctly, and then I will continue to mess it up for the rest of our conversation.
Yeah, I think it was perfect. But in Sweden, you would probably say Andreas Lundahl. But even though I'm from Småland, which is we have kind of a fixed accent in Småland, so someone from Stockholm would say it a little bit differently.
Oh, now does everybody speak one language in Sweden?
Well, yeah. Pretty much, I would say. I think we have a few additional official languages, but like 99% are speaking Swedish or something like that.
Okay. Sorry, just my curiosity. All right. So you have created a tool called Craftkit, which for many people listening might be a first that they've heard of this. So can you tell us, what is Craftkit and what does Craftkit do?
So Craftkit is an email marketing tool that's specifically made for Etsy. So what you can do with Craftkit is to set up what we call campaigns, and they will automatically be sent out to your customers with the content you write and for an event you specify. So to make that a little bit more clear, I can give you an example.
Okay.
So when you sign up for Craftkit, you get a few standard campaigns that we set up for you. And you can either tweak, turn them off, or whatever you want to do with them. But one of them is an order confirmation. So this is an email that's sent out to your customer as soon as they make a purchase in your Etsy shop. So that email is, it can be a good place to thank the customer for their order. You can also tell the story behind your shop, or maybe something about your production process, and just in general get them excited about the purchase. And from a more from like a pure marketing perspective, you can recommend similar products or like complementary products to what you already bought to cross-sell products. And you can also ask them to sign up for your email list. And we do both of those things automatically in the standard campaigns.
So does a campaign, when a message goes out, like you said, when somebody buys something, like the thank you email, if you're using Craftkit, does it come from a different place, or does it come from, if it's connected to our Etsy shops, does it come through the Etsy messaging system. Does that make sense, what I'm asking?
Yeah, totally makes sense. So
Okay.
we only send out emails, so we don't send out anything through Etsy's conversation system or the messaging system they have. So only emails.
Okay. So from a technical standpoint, how does it integrate with Etsy? Does Craftkit integrate with our shop, or is it a separate standalone tool that comes with, these campaigns already preset? So when we get a customer, instead of going into our Etsy messages to send, let's say, a saved message, like a snippet that we've saved, we instead log into our Craftkit account and just start sending our campaigns from there.
Yeah, exactly. So when you sign up for Craftkit, you will be asked to integrate with Etsy, or rather integrate your shop with your Etsy shop with Craftkit.
Okay.
And after you've done that, you can create your account and get started. So right after you have signed up, we have created 4 different standard campaigns. And by the way, a campaign is kind of like an email template that is sent out when you specify it to be sent out. So, for example, you can specify that it should be sent out as soon as someone makes an order, or maybe 2 weeks after your order has been delivered, for example.
Okay. And so when these campaigns go out, aka emails go out to our buyers, they'll be coming from our own email address.
Yes. So, and I know that everyone doesn't really, they haven't set up an email address specifically for the Etsy shop maybe yet. So by default, it's going to be sent out from us. But you can also, and we recommend you to set that to a personal email address.
Okay.
And I mean a personal email address by that. So, for example, for our Etsy shop, it looks like the email is sent out from me because that is more personal, and it will very likely get you a higher open rate.
Okay. And just to be sure, is this okay with Etsy to send messages that are transactional but not within the Etsy ecosystem because your tool is integrated into Etsy?
Yeah, I'm actually so glad that you asked about that because it's probably one of the most common questions we get, and there are so many misconceptions around it. So you are allowed to email your customers, and Etsy even encourages sellers to reach out to customers and thank them for their purchase, for example. What Etsy's policy is saying, though, is that you can't send unsolicited marketing to customers. And that is basically just Etsy restating the law, because in the US and I assume in most of the world, you can't send marketing emails without consent. So what you can do, even before you have explicit consent from the customer, is to send transactional emails. And transactional emails, by the way, are emails that are triggered by some kind of action by the customer. And in our case, that action is placing an order.
Okay.
So in that case, the customer can expect to get an order confirmation email, for example, even if they haven't explicitly consented to receive that.
Right.
So and on the other hand, if the customer consents to receive marketing emails by signing up to your email list, then you can send how many marketing emails you want. Okay. And so this is basically just a long way of saying, yes, you're allowed to email your customers. Just make sure you don't spam your customers.
Yeah.
And that is actually almost impossible to do with Craftkit, actually.
Okay. So I'm assuming that somewhere along the line of somewhere within those 4 those 4 initial campaigns that come with Craftkit that are set up already, somewhere in there, we will ask our buyer, do you want to continue to receive emails from me, and give them a way to opt in so that we can move from sending them just transactional emails related to that particular purchase into sending them additional emails that relate to other things that we're doing.
Yeah, so we have something that we call one-click email list sign-up.
Okay.
And so when you set up an order confirmation, for example, you can ask the customer to sign up for your email list. And you do that by adding a button or a link. And if the customer clicks that link or button, they are automatically added to your list. So it's a very frictionless way of and efficient way of getting people to sign up for your email list.
Okay.
And from the data we have, it's I think it's the most efficient way. Because when you think about it, it's a very natural way of doing it as well, because the customer is reading your email and is probably already excited about your shop and your products. So why not sign up for your email list?
And so just to put this into perspective for a seller who is listening to this, because Etsy doesn't allow us to put hyperlinks, what Craftkit is doing is replacing the need to put the link to sign up for our newsletter and having to tell people copy and paste this into your address bar. And instead, in that first transactional or in a transactional email that we send to them regarding a purchase they've already made, asking them at that point, after they've become our customer, hey, do you want to hear from me some more? Just mark this box and I'll know you're okay with me sending you additional emails.
Yeah, exactly. And you can actually do both, because we also provide a landing page where you can ask your customers to sign up for your email list.
Okay. And just for anyone who doesn't know, what is a landing page?
So it's a web page where, or at least in this case, it's a web page where there's only one call to action for the customer to do, and that is to sign up for the email list. So it says something along the lines, if you wanna, it's better phrased than this, but it's something like if you want to stay updated with this job, enter your email address here.
Okay. So you said Craftkit comes with 4 campaigns, and I assume these are campaigns that you have tested and vetted, and from a marketing standpoint, these kind of cover what we as sellers should be doing to just keep our customers, I guess, engaged and happy throughout the purchasing cycle.
Yeah, so you can remove and add campaigns and tweak them and do whatever you want to do with them and experiment a lot. But we know that Etsy sellers are very busy. So we have set up a configuration for you when you create your account that we think is at least good enough. I mean, it can be, you can spend how much time you want and make it really perfect, but it should be good enough so you can really get a lot of value out of Craftkit just 1 minute after signing up. So the configuration or the different campaigns we have is an order confirmation that is sent out directly after a customer makes a purchase, and a shipment notification that is sent out directly after you ship your order. And that one is also going to include some information about like which carrier you're using and some tracking information. And you can, of course, also add information like how many days the customer can expect to wait for their order and things like that. And we also have a delivery confirmation that is sent out as soon as the order has been delivered, if the carrier supports that. And finally, we have a kind of a feedback or review request that is sent out 2 weeks after the order has been delivered.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Sorry, I'm just taking down some notes and looking at this, because in my head I'm comparing this to the snippets that I have saved. And for me, what I'm thinking is, okay, if all this goes out automatically, because the way I do it now is very manual. And sometimes, of course, when you're busy, things fall through the cracks. Like, not everybody will get that, the email that says your shipment is on the way and here's the tracking number. I know Etsy has some built-in automated emails that they sell, but for me as a seller, I have personalized those and saved them as snippets. And once I try to once a day just sit down and then just do that for everyone, for whom I'm sending some whatever they've bought out for that day. Or I'll do it maybe every other day or every third day. But now what you're saying is Craftkit will automatically do that, and essentially I can put my own custom campaigns, which are what Etsy calls snippets, into Craftkit, and then not have to manually do that each time.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's actually the way I started out with email marketing as well. I did a lot of research about online marketing when I started my Etsy shop, and everyone was talking about how important email marketing is. So I tried to get my customers to sign up for my email list. I asked them very nicely through Etsy's messaging system if they would like to sign up for the email list, and a few of them did, but it wasn't a very efficient process.
Yeah. So other than having a box in the emails that asks people if they want to sign up, and then just have the one step, check or sign up, are there any other tactics for growing an email list that you have found that can help to get more people on our list?
So something that we are using for our Etsy shop is offering a discount code if they sign up for the email list. So we offer a 10% discount, and they will get access to that discount code through a welcome email. So as soon as they sign up for the email list, they are going to receive a welcome email, and that's going to include a code. So that's also a pretty efficient way of getting people on your email list.
So do you say somewhere, sign up to my email list and get 10% off, or does it come as a surprise to them, like a nice thank you for signing up?
Well, they will actually get both. So if someone already makes a purchase and signs up for the email list, they're also going to receive the same welcome email, and they can use that they can use the discount code if they don't already have access to it to make another purchase. Okay. But we put the link or the address to the landing page on the shop in the product description. In the product images, actually, we have like an overlay with a text, like 10% off. It says "Go here," and I think it's also on the header of the shop. Okay.
So one of the things that I know sellers struggle with is what to say in newsletters, and how to craft newsletters, and what to say to make it worth even doing, like to get people to convert. Like, we don't want to just send out an email or a newsletter just for the sake of it and for no reason. We want our customers to come back and buy again. So how should sellers be crafting newsletters, or what should we be saying to our subscribers? And what have you found that gives a higher probability of people converting into repeat buyers versus just seeing your email and not acting on it, or, even worse, deleting it?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I think that is coming up with content is probably what our customers as well are struggling with the most.
Mm-hmm.
But in Craftkit, there are two different types of emails you can send out, at least right now. So the first one is the transactional can, where we're talking about, and they are generally often pretty easy to write content for because you already have a context. So a shipment confirmation should probably have tracking information, for example. But you can also add a more promotional angle to them. So, for example, by default, we add product recommendations to all transactional emails, which is a very natural and non-spamming way of asking your customers to come back. And the other type is something called drip campaigns. And you can think of a drip campaign as a set of automated newsletters, kind of. I'm not entirely sure about the analogy there, but I think it's about something that happens with a specific cadence, like something that is dripping. And in this case, that the drops would be emails. So you send out an email maybe once every week or once every other week or something like that. So these are marketing emails, and you need consent from your customers to send them out. And the way you set them up in Craftkit is you specify a certain point after the customer signed up for your email list. And so the welcome email I mentioned, for example, that's the very start of the drip campaign, because that one is sent out directly after the customer signs up for the email list.
Okay.
And then after that, you might want to send out another email maybe 1 week after that. That could, for example, be a gifting guide. For example, if you're selling something that's very, very popular to gift to people. And something that's very popular to include. And you don't really need to include this in the drip campaigns. You can also kind of mix content with the transactional emails. So, for example, you can add a guide about how to take care of your products in the delivery confirmation email. Because as soon as they get their order delivered, and they open up it and they also see the email, at least during the same day, hopefully, they will know how to take care of the product. And that's something that's usually pretty appreciated. I also generally recommend customers to look at the content that you already have. For example, if they have a blog, that's perfect. Just take those articles, and at least the most popular articles, and make a drip campaign of that. If you have maybe lifestyle images on Instagram, just create a campaign email for that as well, and just as inspiration for your customers.
How long should a drip campaign last? Like, what's a good number of emails to have in a campaign?
That's also a very good question, and it differs. I think it differs a lot between different stores or what they're selling and things like that. So in Craftkit we support up to 1 year. So some people are actually going to set up 52 different campaigns, so one every week for a full year. I like to keep a 2-week cadence. So you send out one email every 2 weeks.
Okay. And so the nice thing about drip campaigns is, from what I understand, once you set it up, every time a new person joins your email list, they're automatically put into this cycle, I guess you can call it, or this, I guess cycle might not be the word, but on this track where, every week or every other week, they're getting these pre-designed or pre-set up emails, which, I'm assuming will be evergreen and not emails that are time sensitive. And so once somebody is in that, you can just trust that they're moving along as they should, without you necessarily having to touch anything. Is that?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So newsletters, when you think of newsletters, you generally think about broadcast newsletters where you send out maybe an announcement to your whole list.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is that you constantly have to come up with new content, and you have to really maintain that, and it's very difficult to be consistent.
Yes.
I remember, as I mentioned earlier, that I managed to get a few people to sign up for my email list in the beginning by messaging them directly, and after a while I had maybe 15 customers, something like that, on the list, and I decided to pull the trigger and send my first newsletter. And I think I spent like at least half a day writing the thing. And because I was so afraid that people would just unsubscribe right away, so I wanted to make it really good. So I sent it out and felt pretty good about myself. Then I started thinking, how often am I supposed to do this? So I read a few guides, and everyone was like, you should send out one newsletter every week to keep your list warm. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to spend half a day every week writing this and come up with new content every time. So I kind of abandoned email marketing at that point, and a few years later, we started Craftkit.
Okay. Yeah, I think many people can relate to that pain of, struggling to figure out what to say, and then putting so much effort into it that just the thought of having to do that again makes it so unappealing that you just don't.
Yeah, and then you're gonna see a few unsubscribe, and your heart is just gonna sink.
Yeah. And there's that too. So now Craftkit has been around for some time now. I'm not sure exactly how long, but long enough that you have been able to see some successes with some customers who are using this tool. Can we talk about maybe a case study of how an Etsy seller has used Craftkit and what the results were, how they used it for their shop, and how it was able to help them grow?
Yes, of course. So we have one customer, and she's running on a shop called Unmeasured Event, which sells wedding invitations and other kind of printable templates. So she sells digital items. Okay. And so she has had a lot of support requests and before starting Craftkit. Starting using Craftkit, and so she takes a very kind of informational or instructional approach to her campaigns. So she talks a lot about how they can get their stuff printed, and where they can get it printed, and how to handle the files, and where to find the files, and things like that. So what she has used Craftkit the most for is to get the number of support requests down. yeah, she seems to be very happy, and she has managed to keep up communication with her customers as well, and hopefully enticing them to come back, and by making a very simple process for them.
Okay, so you're saying that the campaigns that she set up, and I assume these would be marketing campaigns as opposed to the transactional campaigns in her drip campaigns, addressed questions that people most typically tended to ask who had bought her products. And so by just sending out these emails automatically, she was answering questions before new customers got to ask them. So then that way she was able to cut down on just having to say the same thing again over and over to additional customers, because now that became a drip campaign or part of a drip campaign.
So I'm not entirely sure, but I
Okay.
don't think she is using any drip campaigns. I think she is only using the transactional emails.
Okay.
So she sends out an order confirmation, which contains all this information about how they can get the printables printed, and other useful information that she. Before using Craftkit, she used to get a lot of support requests about these things.
Okay.
And I also remember that she set up the feedback, or tweaked the feedback one a little bit as well to get more reviews. She has reported that she gets a lot of reviews nowadays, which hopefully helps her with the search algorithm. And
yeah, and that's the one that goes out 2 weeks after the item is marked as shipped.
Yes, but
Okay.
in her case, actually, she sells digital items, so
Right.
they are delivered directly. So I think she has set up them to be sent out maybe 1 week or 2 weeks after the order confirmation. But because she already knows that she doesn't ship anything, so she already knows that it's they're gonna have the items when she asks for a review.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Do you think we can do some on the spot brainstorming, like for a couple of different types of sellers, just to get some ideas of what types of emails they can send out to their own customers, maybe put into their campaigns?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the one we just talked about was a digital product seller. So let's start with a physical item, vintage. So we'll do vintage, and I would like to use Nito Keen. She sells vintage towels and tablecloth. Well, a whole bunch of different vintage items, from collectibles to tea towels to paper ephemera types of things. So for someone like her, and her name is Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Cindy runs this particular Etsy shop. What would you suggest she put in her campaigns that go out?
One thing that I would like to know about if I make an order from this shop is how she's sourcing all these different, very interesting products. So, I mean, there's probably a story behind every product.
Right.
So, and customers are, I think customers are probably gonna have some kind of emotional attachment to the products they are ordering. So if you can add more to that story, customers are probably gonna get even more emotionally attached to the product, and can maybe hopefully tell their friends the story, and get people to come back to the store that way.
Okay. So for someone like her emails would include a bit more storytelling to stir up emotions.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, on the start of it, it's looks like that. It looks like these projects would be interesting to tell a story about.
Okay. All right. And then how about let's look at a handmade type of shop. So Alicia runs One Blushing Bride, and she makes wedding veils and capes. What type of information should go in her campaigns?
So this one is a little bit more difficult from one aspect, because this is the kind of product where you don't want your customers to come back, because they hopefully are not going to have a second wedding.
Yes.
Or at least you don't want to entice your customers to come back by having a second wedding. So I would take a little bit more of maybe have some lifestyle content, and keep yourself top of mind, so that your customers are gonna recommend your shop to their friends when they're getting married.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. And I would probably not be as aggressive with sending out a drip campaign, because maybe in the beginning when everyone is excited about the wedding, but if you're sending out like once every week, and they don't think that this is relevant for them anymore, they might unsubscribe. So I would be a little bit less aggressive with that. And yeah.
Okay. Actually, that makes sense, because like in this case, the nature of the product means that at some point the relationship, I guess, will end after the wedding. And so it would be hard to try and stay in touch after that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you can still keep the customers excited about the products, and for example,
because you want them to refer you to.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you can one thing that I'm thinking about is that you can have maybe an interview with one of your customers where they talk about their wedding and the products, and something that's gonna be interesting for these brides to read after the wedding as well.
Okay, that makes sense. Can we talk about pricing? Right now, as of when we're recording this, fully understanding that sometimes prices do change, what does it cost to use Craftkit?
So first of all, anyone that signs up for Craftkit gets a 2-week free trial. No credit card required. So you can sign up for Craftkit and go crazy, try it out for 2 weeks and see if it is for you. And you don't have to spend a dime. And after that, we of course hope that you want to continue to use Craftkit. And then it is $10 per 500 customers per month. So as an example, if your shop is small and you don't have 500 customers per month, you'll pay $10. But if your shop is a bit bigger, you will pay $20 per month for up to 1,000 customers, and $40 for up to 1,500 customers, and so on.
Okay.
So I know it can sound a little bit complicated and intimidating, but as opposed to just having a flat fee, maybe. But the reason we have this kind of pricing is that we want to keep the price low for smaller shops.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the fairest pricing we could think of.
Okay.
And yeah.
And so when you say like 500 customers is $10, is that just to have 500 emails on the list, or is that to send 500 individual emails?
So you can send how many emails you want. The number of emails are unlimited,
Okay.
but you can send. So for $10, for example, you can send up to 500 unique customers per month.
Okay.
So
And
if
each customer can get multiple emails.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and that you don't have to think about. You can set up how many campaigns you want for every customer, and you don't have to think about pricing for that.
Nice.
And we really hope that cost should be a no-brainer, as your campaigns should pay for themselves many times over in customers that are coming back to your shop.
Okay. And just some of the features that come with Craftkit, just to review, is we have the one-click email list sign up, and the product recommendations that are automatically generated in the email, and the landing page you said. Anything else? Any other, like, do we write our emails in like I'm assuming Craftkit has its own ecosystem and maybe an editor to use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we definitely do have an editor.
Okay.
And so it's a pretty standard editor where you can add links and write text, and you can also do some dynamic things like setting up links to your, for example, in the shipment notification, you probably want to include a tracking URL, and you can do that by using a variable in the email template, so that the customer gets a nice link where they can click here to where they can click like a link, click here to track your order and stuff like that. Okay. And maybe I should mention a little bit more about the product recommendations, because I'm not sure if I made it perfectly clear what that is about.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So in the editor, you can add a section where we are gonna set up to 4 different product recommendations or recommended products. So in that section, we will include products that other customers also bought, similarly to Amazon's product recommendation, for example. So let's say you're selling pet supplies and a customer buys a dog collar. If you're also selling leashes, it would probably be common to buy a collar together with a leash, I would assume. But maybe the customer that bought the collar didn't even know that you're selling leashes. So we would recommend that product in the emails so the customer can see it and hopefully buy it. And these recommendations are completely automatic, and we will do the data crunching for you, so you don't have to do anything.
Oh, okay. And again, these are recommendations directly from our own stores.
Yeah. As opposed to what you can see on Etsy, where Etsy recommends products from everybody
else. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Is there anything else about Craftkit that you want to make sure we know about? Any other capabilities that we might not have touched on yet?
Well, I should probably mention that we are definitely here to help you with setting up the campaigns. Maybe you don't even need to tweak your campaigns. Maybe you're happy with the campaigns that we set up for you when you create your account. But if you wanna go crazy on them, just email us, or if you wanna set up a call through Zoom or anything works for us. Even if you have ideas that might not be possible to do in Craftkit right now, just let us know, and we'll do our best to realize that.
That's the joy of running an agile company, where you're able to take in ideas, work with them, make changes or additions, if possible, I should say.
Yeah, definitely.
Andreas, what's the best way folks can connect with you, and what's the best way for them to learn more about Craftkit?
So the best way is probably to go to our website, which you can find at craftkit.app. So that's craftkit.app. And there you will find contact information, and you can also email me directly if you have any questions at Andreas@craftkit.app, or our general address at support@craftkit.app.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, I should also mention that if anyone listens to this and wants to give it a try, make sure that you enter the promo code CONVO, CONVO, when you sign up, and you will get 50% off during the first 3 months.
Oh, wow. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, and that's promo code CONVO, CONVO?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Andreas, for coming on and sharing about this new tool that seems like it's going to take quite a bit of the load of email marketing off the shoulders of Etsy sellers. Hopefully, folks have been able to learn not just about email marketing, but also how Craftkit can be integrated into their shops to help them with this additional task of many that we have on our plates. So thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
You're most welcome. And I thank you for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. I will be back with another episode next week. If you need to connect with me, I'm at convome.com. All the links to everything we talked about will be over on convobe.com. I will have links to Craftkit and the support email if you have any additional questions. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Etsy Conversations. And I will be back with another episode next week.
Thank you for listening. You can subscribe to the podcast in iTunes, and while you're there, please leave a review too. Visit convome.com to leave a comment or feedback on this episode.